And we're here as well amidst some really intense conditions upon this planet, internal and external, as we experience the Earth going through some major upheavals with hurricanes and wildfires, and really, really embracing and working at cleansing through all of the elements. But there is a lot of associated trauma that's actually going along with this. And we're feeling a lot of this in our bodies one way or another at the moment. And that's really the whole energy, and the energetics of the moment is about that alchemical transformation and building bridges into new paradigms. And the analogy and the mirror effect of what's happening, again, is that the severe weather conditions are all serving from the bigger picture perspective to really break down old structures. We're feeling it in our bodies. The earth is actually doing that in her way, and it's bringing up an incredible amount of fear, which is why the gift that I've actually given you this month is the Diamond Light Code transmission, Releasing Fear. So I hope that you will find that useful. It is a great little 5-minute transmission that you can use on a daily basis, as and when you want to. Put it on your mobile device and really work with it, because the more that we can clear the fear within ourselves, the more we can actually hold this space. Elaine says, found solace in connecting with angelic realm this morning in meditation. Oh, lovely. And that gift was amazing, Julie. Thank you. Oh, wonderful, Elaine. Thank you. Whichever way you guys are supported in releasing the fear around the events that are taking place will serve. And that is also the process and the intention of the processes that we're going to be using at the moment, is that alchemical transformation of fear, so that we can truly be the space and hold the space to bridge into the new paradigms, the new forms, the new structures that still need to be made manifest, that will be made manifest as a consequence of all of these events. But it is a tumultuous time. There's a lot of trauma that is being experienced. There's a lot of grief that will be experienced through the process. And it's really, really important that we hold our center, we hold our core through this entire journey. And of course, not only have we had the eclipse, which is exceptionally intense, and people are feeling the effects of it now, sort of up to 2 weeks later, we've just had a full moon. We are going into a 10-day gap day sequence, which is intensified cosmic energy, which adds to the momentum, and it adds fuel to all of the events that are taking place on the planet. We have Mercury going straight. It's come out of retrograde, so there's a lot of movement that's associated with that. We also have a recent solar flare and geomagnetic activity. So there is a huge amount of stuff and energetic influence that is actually taking place at the moment that we need to be aware of. And that is that, thank you, Rachel, yeah, noticed a lot of people feeling overwhelmed with life at the moment and felt a bit stressed myself. Yes, that is the thing, is that there is so much going on. It's not just about the downloads from the eclipse. It is a feeling of overwhelm with everything that we are faced with. It's a huge amount of energy that we are being tasked with transforming, embedding, enabling our core, and being able to express in the world. And that is part and parcel of our journey into multidimensionality, essentially. So let's do a bit of work today on strengthening the core and strengthening our position through this particular very, very intense sequence. So where we're at today is the 6th of September. Oh, and the other thing is, at the moment, we also are moving into the next upswing of the 9th wave. So we've got a huge momentum forward in respect of building those new structures. So again, it's the new paradigms needing to be able to bring those forward. Very interesting, and I think a lot of people are feeling the same. Rachel's just said, I'm struggling to find any structure at the moment. I feel as if there's not enough time, or I'm running out of time. Yes, And that's because structures are breaking down and the new structures have not yet been put in place. And that's where we're feeling a lot of the aches and pains in our bodies, because there's still, because we don't have that tether, that anchor, if you like, with the new structures. There's almost a fear of the complete letting go of those old forms, because we don't know fully what is going to replace them. We have to be in a space and place of complete faith, trust, and surrender. There's that word again, to the process that is taking place. So it really is, it feels like a pivotal time at the moment for moving forward with these new energies, but moving forward one step at a time, while the road is actually being created or built under our feet. That literally is. It's like take that step, and the structure that we need will actually present itself. And I've noticed as well, a couple of people that I know in the States are kind of living in different ways also, where they've given up their homes and temporarily moved in with other people, are doing a lot of traveling, moving. So that structure has been taken away. The old structure has actually been taken away. So there's a huge amount going on. Elaine says, I feel like I'm warping between dimensions. Yes. Have to meditate more and remind myself not to get pulled into all of the sadness and grief. Absolutely well said, Elaine. And that awareness, I think, is just so valuable and so important for everybody, is to be aware that that is around us, not to shut ourselves off from it, because that is what fuels our compassion, but to allow it to flow. So it's in our multidimensional nature and the strength of our core that we can allow that to flow into and through us and hold the space of compassion. So very challenging. Rachel says, I just had an image of us all linking arms, creating a human bridge while the new one is being created. Lovely. Yes, that's exactly it. Hang on tight. Beautiful image and wonderful, wonderful analogy. And that is what we're doing at the moment. So I don't think any of us actually imagined that it would get this intense in respect of the journey. And I don't think it's going to let up. So each step along the way, we're learning to kind of navigate and work with the new terrain and find new skills and new ways of actually working in that space. So here we have the complete harmonic module. You guys, many of you will have seen this before. We're starting here at the beginning of a sequence of 10 intensified gap days. So just really expect the next 10 days to be opportunities for mastery. It's an opportunity for you to step into your mastery through this. So we've got feeling very I'm just going to relay and share a couple of comments in the chat room. Feeling very multidimensional. Can't seem to stick to one task for any length of time. Yes, on to the next. That's why I feel stressed. Yeah, it's because you can't finish things in the way that you used to be able to progress with things. Great image. People are really overwhelmed and some are losing it. Agree the need to go within and find the peace. And that stability. It's your internal stability, which is going to be the groundwork and form the foundation for the new structures. So it's as within, so without. And the more we can do that within the diamond community and hold that fabric, the more we really assist those who are caught up in all of the dramas. So there you have the harmonic module and the 10 gap days, the sequence which follows through from here. And each one, the way I like to look at it is the first sequence of gap days in this module is another process of cleansing within. We then have a sort of 10 normal days, if you like, and then we move through the mystic core column, which is really about stabilizing and integrating everything within our core. And then following that, we have the other side of the core column, which is really an expansiveness. So here we have this clearing out, this connecting with our mastery, this reconnection, establishing those foundations. And on the other side here, in another 30, this is going to be 10, 20, 30, it's about 35 days time, we start the next 10-day sequence, and this is about expression and expansion. Okay. So yeah, we're right in the heart of the harmonic module with all of the intensity that's going on externally in the world as well. So it really does fascinate me how everything kind of aligns. And in fact, today, which is the first gap day, is the day that Mercury stations direct and begins to move forward again. So an incredible amount happening at the moment. So also from yesterday, we entered the Red Serpent wave spell, which is a 13-day period. I'm not quite sure if you guys can hear a little Yoda barking in the background, but he's joining us for our session today. Okay, so the Red Serpent wave spell. And this is, again, it's another description. It's another way of expressing the energies of the moment. So you'll see how aligned all of this is as well. So we enter the serpent, as we enter the serpent wave spell, we can expect 13 days of intensity. Here we go. So that adds to it again. Along with the serpent's love of being in the midst of the action and drama of life, this cycle has 10 gap days in a row, one of only two 13-day cycles to have those. Floodgates, thank you. Yeah, Elaine, the analogies and the metaphors are just so profound in respect of the planetary engagement with these cycles. My experience of gap days is they tend to be days where the floodgates, oh, there we go, that's where you got it, to increase frequency are opened, where new energy enters onto the earth and we all become conduits for that energy. As the dimensional doorways are opened, this brings a huge new energy that has no relation to anything we've experienced before, which puts us into survival mode as we deal with what we have not known before and have no previous experience to base our actions upon. So saying this, you are prepared. And as Rachel says, you couldn't make it up, could you? These alignments are really, really incredible. The more I sort of work with these, the Tolkien, the Mayan calendar, and find these other descriptions, because these are not the words that Mariella would usually use to describe these particular wave spells. And this is one that actually comes from the Intergalactic Research Institute, who works with it. So very interesting that it was this choice that I actually happened upon this description for this wave spell. So due to all the new energy flooding in, all of our ways of identifying ourselves that have built up since the last 10 days of gap, which was in the seed wave spell. So you can see that each time we go through one of these modules, the wave spells that align with the gap days. So the underlying influence that is impacting those gap days changes. So the last time we went through this, it was during the seed wave spell, which was 210 days ago. So this time we're going through the 10-day sequence within the serpent wave spell. So the focus is different, and it is upon focused upon safety, security, identity, transformation, new energy. So you can see how perfect it is for these times. Hi, Hillary. Hi, Marina. Welcome. Glad you could make it. So here we go. So our job is to let all the previous ways we've identified ourselves over the last 210 days that are not aligned with the reality of who we are, these begin to come undone. So this is where we're talking about the structures crumbling in the face of our job to be conduits for new energy. So this has been my experience, she says, in the last 17 years of sailing through this cycle. In the past, I've watched as the intensity and rawness of this cycle undoes us and brings us to a rawness that is akin to a great stripping away. We shall see what shall be in this cycle and be prepared for it to be nothing and everything like this. So it's gonna be what it is, but it's kind of be prepared for that stripping away in whichever way it is actually going to happen. Reforming, recreating, letting go, and being brave enough and courageous enough to let go of those old structures. So Rachel, thanks for that comment. Would be great to learn more about the wave spells. I do have some information from Mariella, and we can maybe even ask Mariella to take us through an introductory session in respect of understanding all of those wave spells, but they are 13 days each. So through the 260-day cycle, these are the 20 13-day cycles that actually we traverse as we go through each 260 days of this harmonic module is 260 days, and there are 20 wave spells during that period. Rachel, well said. This is like stepping off the cliff and trusting that our wings will carry us. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we're being asked to do. And, I mean, obviously this theme comes up regularly and it comes up again and again, but at deeper and deeper levels. So this really is taking us to another level of faith and trust and mastery and letting go. So it deepens and it expands each time we go through one of these cycles. Deepen and expand, deepen and expand. Okay, so what we have today is the focus for today's energy is the White Lunar World Bridger as a galactic activation portal, and that is this central glyph here. This is the World Bridger. It's Kin 106. Rachel, it's very interesting that you say that, because I just want to share with the rest of you as well. Rachel's just said, I feel as if I've been releasing deep core issues. What else is there to release? But we're releasing also on behalf of humanity. There are a lot of teachings out there that tend to also separate what is mine and what is not. And therein is again one of the spiritual paradoxes, because if we are interconnected, if we are one and the all, then what is not ours? So with the hurricanes and everything that's going on around in the world and the planet, that's part and parcel of us too. So it's almost as if as we release our own, we go deeper into the collective and we release more and more of what we have been a part of or been attached to within the collective fields. So our responsibility becomes greater, and that is the whole essence of going deeper and more expansive in respect of our mastery. We know, sort of stories of the great masters of old, and Jesus and Buddha, and they could take on the pains and things of others and actually heal that without any problem, without taking on the illness or the ailments themselves. There's no fear anymore. Yeah, so I think that's really worth holding in mind, that the deeper we go and the more we clear our own, if you like, our personal stories, our personal histories, the deeper we then go into the collective and respect of being conduits in a far, far grander, greater way. That's our multidimensional galactic self. So the affirmation for today, and here again, look at how amazing this is at the moment. I polarize in order to equalize. Very, very interesting, and I've got a little snippet for you on that. I polarize in order to equalize. Stabilizing opportunity, stabilizing factor. I seal the door of death. And that's really we're facing, is that we're facing death and the fear of the death of the old structures and the old forms. With the lunar tone of challenge, I am guided by the power of endlessness. And that is that almost immersion into the collective grids and the eternal nature of who we are. Not just the collective grids, the cosmic collective. I am a galactic activation portal into me. Very, very powerful day. So Mariella's affirmation, this is her glyph. May the energy of the White World Bridger help me to let go of limiting beliefs and forgive in order to end cycles. So we are facing great endings, and wherever there is a great ending, there is a new beginning. But the ending of this cycle is going to continue through the 10 gap day sequence in different ways. So here again, this information is from the Intergalactic Research, and some of her information is really quite fascinating. The Throat chakra is the chakra that's actually governed by this. It's almost as if the throat chakra is the boundary between the higher elements or aspects of self, ability to connect and allow the embodiment at higher essence through the throat. It's not just about communication. The throat is also a great point of surrender in the body. It is the bridging point between human will and divine will. So it's where we actually surrender to divine will and become the true world bridger. And it was interesting yesterday when I said to a couple of you that I was experiencing this almost popping up of stuff. It was like bubbles of really, really strange, and it felt like old stuff that I couldn't quite grasp. But I knew that there was fear and all sorts of strange emotion in there. And I knew that it was popping up from within me. But along with that, I was actually getting swathes and glimpses of this beautiful sky blue color. And that was before I came across this information. So I actually didn't realize that the throat was actually the governing chakra at the moment. And of course, the color of the throat is a sky blue. So really a point of surrendering personal will to divine will. I am Kimi, Chimi, World Bridger. I am your ability to surrender and let go. I am your forgiveness and your liberation. So keys in that. The power of White World Bridger is the power of death. It grants us understanding that death is merely a dividing line beyond which life continues. Death is part of life. If nothing dies, nothing can be born. Life is a cycle. Everything is life. Everything is cycle. Death is but one of its faces. World Bridger asks you to let go of your fear of death and loss. To forgive and let go, because only when there is room and space can something new grow. And this really, this is seriously where the fear is in the collective at the moment because of the traumatic world events that people are being faced with. So we need to conquer and master that within ourselves. White World Bridger Days are about surrender, forgiveness, and building bridges. What bridges in order to get where you want to be. Death is a key word associated with the World Bridger because in order to get somewhere, we have to allow a part of ourselves to die. The part of ourselves that's outdated, narrow-minded, and high maintenance needs to go if you are to stand a chance of making any progress. This can be painful, but ever so useful. Beautiful descriptions, beautiful understanding of the energies we're working with. Further goes on to say that the additional energy today is lunar tone 2. From 1 comes 2. Opposing forces work together, counterbalancing each other within a field of stability. Now, if ever there was a beautiful description of what the diamond actually facilitates and is, there it in one sentence. They counterbalance each other in a field of stability. Black and white, day and night, good and evil work and play, the yin and yang. The beauty of relationship represents the essential dance of two. Everything defines and is defined by its polar opposite. We are described and highlighted, but we are not. It is said if the valley filled up, the mountains would disappear. Now, how's that for a beautiful, beautiful way of being able at this yin and yang and the flow and the acceptance of opposites? So I often hear people talking about transcending duality, and we don't necessarily transcend it. We embrace it and we dance with it. We flow with it. Tone 2 helps us to see that it is light which creates shadow, that winter and summer are force experienced from contrasting positions. They're on the same continuum. Night and day are faces of the one earth as it revolves. Polarized states that we encounter in daily life can serve as extremes which challenge us. The moon, keeper of lunar lunacy, reminds us that as we can only see one side of her at a time, so too we may be to only one side of a perceptual equation. If we overlook the inherent unity that opposing forces are born of, polarity is experienced as duality. And a lot of people, I think, also mistake this a graceful explanation of the difference between polarity and duality. So polarity exists and will always exist in our dimension, but it is duality that actually becomes transcended through our ability to dance along that continuum of those polarized opposites. Duality, the destructive illusion of separation, denies that counterbalances exist to serve each other. Challenges that appear as hardship or struggle when seen from another perspective can bear the blessings of opportunity. So this tone too, this is part of today, stabilize challenge by receiving opposition as a catalyst to generate holistic awareness. Embrace challenges as stimulation. So very, very powerful insight, very powerful words. Any of you have any comments on that? See, the chat room's gone very quiet. I just wanted to sort of get through that. Nope. Just some powerful insights for you. We transcend and has, so I think that's a beautiful, almost an affirmation to hold, is that we transcend duality by embracing, dancing with polarity. Very deep understanding. And that's where we're going, deeper and more expansive. Okay, so just the additional astrological influences, and here are just a couple of extracts from Kaipacha, and you can see how this overlays and aligns beautifully with everything else in respect of the energies of this time. I just love this, by the way. I found this little poster. Wholeness is a state in which consciousness and the unconscious work together in harmony. It is. It's that constant dance. You can almost see the figure eight working between the two. So Mercury stations direct. Saturn goes direct and is conjunct Black Moon Lilith, and we have a full moon at the moment. All of these impact on the structures that surround our beliefs, and they challenge ego security. Thank you, Bunny. She's just said polarity is a tough one, but that was great. Remembering the whole and now the wholeness quickly is helpful. Thank you. That's wonderful. It's just hold that in mind, because we'll always be faced with those challenges as part of our growth. And Kaipacha, from his report of not quite a week ago, he says, we are experiencing a subterranean flow of change, evolution, and transformation. Subterranean meaning even below our personal unconscious. Never underestimate the power of the unconscious. All the best laid plans of mice and men, and that's the structure that we like to put around things, all of the plans that we put in place, are nothing compared to the power of your own personal unconscious soul evolutionary intention for this lifetime. And that is like a drop of water in the ocean of the collective unconscious of Gaia herself evolving. You know, all of this talk about drops of water in the ocean, you know, sort of the waters, the subterranean flows of change evolution. Everything that is happening that we see taking place around us is an evolutionary process that is within and without, and it's happening at a really deep level, and it is all challenging the structures that surround our beliefs. This best laid plans, you know, making plans to do things and they fall away, or they change, or they adapt. It's like that adaptation, that going with the polarity, the ebb and the flow, and holding the space with strength between. Rachel says, yes, you definitely get a sense of attempting to balance out. Yeah. And I think I mentioned earlier, sort of tragedy aside, it is interesting that the first hurricane hit what is actually a world icon of the patriarchal control system in respect of the oil industry. You know, symbolically, there is this dissolution that is happening in respect of all of those masculine, energized structures and forms in society. So we're feeling it in our bodies. That's where this whole thing on the right side of our bodies actually comes in, in the joints, in the bones. And there's a lot of people struggling with that at the moment. Arthritic conditions, falls, injuries, lots and lots on the right-hand side of the body that's intensifying at the moment. So there we have the background. Yeah, and I think that's it. Rachel says there may become a greater respect for nature and the earth herself. I absolutely agree with that. This is part and parcel of understanding that, man and the masculine approach to nature has been to control nature. Nature is actually saying we cannot. Nature, this wild, untamed feminine, cannot be controlled. And sooner or later, she was going to rise up. Houston is oil and chemical cesspool, and humans in that location are now suffering. Absolutely, Elaine. And that's, why I say is to never lose sight of the compassion for the human cost of the drama and the events that are actually unfolding, because it has been an unconscious buy-in to those belief systems, to those structures and forms, and things like that are now being made conscious. The beauty of what we see happening, and I think that is really quite incredible, is almost the emergence of these new structures through the community support that is evident as a consequence of these natural disasters. And as a result of the trauma and suffering. So it's really, really important to hold that balanced perspective. That yes, while we understand those structures need to fall and be adjusted and changed, there is a lot of suffering through the unconscious in the process. And we need to hold compassion and do whatever we can for all of those individuals. That's our job. That's what we were born for, energetically and otherwise. Thank you for that. It's a wonderful reminder. Rachel said, we've heard for a long time that there will be a mass awakening. Makes you wonder whether this could be part of that awakening. I do believe it is part of it, because through anything like this, any life crisis that we go through, there is a forced evaluation of belief systems and values. We say, it's a reevaluation, if you like, there's that word evaluation, value, that we reassess our value systems, and values are based upon beliefs. So the necessity is in a reevaluation of the structures that have given rise to all of the beliefs that we have held. So very, very powerful insights and very powerful processes that are taking place. Thank you for sharing that. A couple of extra comments coming in. And then we'll go into the process. So I think it continues the wake up to all. Yes. If there is a great coming together, as Amanda Ellis said recently, all of the elements will be coming into play. So we all realize we have to be vigilant. Yep, absolutely. And that is it. So we have seen over recent years sort of enclaves of new community being created and being developed, and they, for a large part, they tend to have been developed outside the cities, outside of the urban areas, in isolated rural and natural areas and contexts. And there's been quite a lot of that happening, small communities building up where people are learning to live and be in different ways. And even certain countries, as we've spoken about with the Old Souls program, you have places like Iceland and some of the Nordic countries where their societies are being structured in a different way, in a very honoring way. And what we are seeing now is communities coming together in the urban within, emerging from the patriarchal structures. So it's coming closer to the mass population areas rather than being isolated communities. So it is gaining momentum through these processes. So let's not forget the cost of human life, the grief, the loss, the trauma that is being experienced as a consequence of this. Whenever we go through a death process, the loss of something, there is a grieving process that really needs to be honored and progressed through. It is just on the other side of grief is joy. But that is a journey that we cannot avoid. The two dance, they dance hand in hand. Sorrow and joy dance hand in hand. And that is the polarity. There's that figure eight that actually bridges them. And as you've just said, Rachel, bringing the world together and bridging the world. Yes, absolutely. So some beautiful analogies and depth of understanding through the energies that we are faced with at the moment. So thank you all for bearing with us through that. We're going to move into the process, and as a group, as a collective, we're going to also add our support to hopefully helping to weaken and deflect Hurricane Irma at this time. So just as a reminder, where we talk about alchemy, we really engage the five elements, not just four. You know, a lot of people talk about earth, air, fire, and water. We forget that ether is also an element. It is the spiritual element that actually infuses and balances all of those. That's the origin of the five-pointed star. The pentagram, the number 5, is also about experience and the human condition. And what we are really wanting to do is to infuse the human condition and all of those elements with the spirit or the element of ether. It is a vital component and a vital aspect to the entire alchemical process. Without the ether, there is no real alchemical process. It is simply material form and structure. So yeah, fifth element is love. Ether is love. It is that which binds us all. It is the ether which binds together not just us as a human race, but it binds together everything the within the cosmos. It runs through and ripples through everything. It is that which is invisible. But it infuses every single one of those elements. So the light code that I've also chosen to work with today is the transformation light code. And I've actually just shifted it so that if you have to stand in the center of the light code, I wanted the spirals to spiral clockwise so that we can actually use this, because Irma as a hurricane is actually a tightening anti-clockwise spiral in respect of the force that is being generated in the center. And what we want to do is to counter that extreme intensity of a single polarized condition, as in the anti-clockwise spiral, with a very powerful transformative clockwise force. So the transformation light code, spiraling clockwise from the center out, is what we are going to work with through the process. How does that sound, guys? Are you all ready? I think I've talked enough. I'm just going to have a drink of water. Very good. Perfect. Ready. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Just want to say again before we go into this session, I really love you guys, and thank you so much for showing up and for being here and for being so always willing to add your essence, your beauty, your strength, your mastery to these processes, to these journeys, and to the collective. So it could also be viewed that we are creating those conditions in the collective in respect of the wake-up call that's needed for mass humanity. So let's try and make it as gentle as possible to reduce the trauma. I think Marina's actually had to leave us. Oh no, Marina's still here. And thank you, Marina. Love you too, and all of you. Thank you. Being who we came here to be. That's exactly. We are all who we came here to be. Okay, so if you're ready for the process at the moment, then I may have another quick drink of water and wet my whistle. Very, very dry here in Salt Lake City, I have to say, at the moment. There's not been a drop of rain and searing hot temperatures. Okay, so if you guys are all ready, then make sure that you're comfortable wherever you're sitting. Rest your hands gently upon your lap. Close your eyes, resting one eyelid over the other, very gently so that nothing is stressed. And take a long, slow, deep breath in as you rest into this space and place of peace. And allow yourself to surrender with grace to the ebb and flow of your breathing, following the flow of your breath in, all the way down, as it infuses your entire body, carried through your blood to the tips of your toes and out, releasing tension, fear, stress. For this moment in time, releasing the intensity of the external world and surrendering to the peace, the beauty, the safety, the love and the connection of your core. Breathing deeply in and out. Feeling the ease begin to flood your body, moving through your joints, your bones, softening. And even in that softness, as the inherent strength of your diamond, as you create that field around you, and therein is the beauty of that polarity, that you have the eternal unbreakable strength of your diamond essence, with the softness of the flow of the energy through that form, the flow of universal love, of higher self-being, of intergalactic, multidimensional aspects of self. The various forms and manifestations of the greatest divine love itself. Be aware of that balance of soft and strong within you as you create and anchor your diamond field in its appropriate position at the base of the spine, connected to the soul star and the earth star. Allow your shoulders to release and allow your consciousness to withdraw and to drop within your body. Be in the quiet, be at peace in the stillness. And you find yourself now standing in the center of a small house. This house is furnished with furniture and trinkets, with ornaments and images and pictures of all that you have held dear in respect of your life and lives upon this earth up to this point. You stand alone in this space, for it was within this space that you experienced the sense of separation from the grand totality of your mastery and your divine self. And you move around this space, taking a good look at all that has been placed within it, that has been a part of your stabilizing structure up to this point. Move in and out of the rooms, exploring, examining, picking up and playing with. Feel the joy of certain memories. Connect with the sadness of some of the others. And you notice as you move around this space that it begins to feel constrictive for you. That the bones in your body seem to have grown too large for this space. That you begin to bump into things as you move around. The furniture suddenly looks outdated and heavy, even though you have a fondness and perhaps attachment to it. Take a look at the colors that are being presented for you in this space, in this small, comfortable home. And as you become aware of the constrictions that are evident within what used to be your personal comfort zone, you note where in your body some of the injuries and aches and pains are manifesting. And as you feel that, notice which artifacts within the space you are drawn to that may be contributing to this discomfort within your physical form. Is it a picture? Is it a large item? Is it a photograph? What is it within your little house that creates that discomfort? What is it as you look around that you are immediately willing to let go of in order to create more space? What is it that you have a resistance to letting go of? And look out of the windows of this comfortable and yet constrictive space. What do you see outside of the windows? Move around the house and notice what it is that you're seeing. There may be people awaiting you outside. And suddenly the walls seem to close on you. And in the expansiveness of what awaits outside of this space is a longing that arises within your heart for that freedom, for that liberation, for a breaking down of all of the walls, boundaries, and limitations that have been imposed by cultures and ancestors and society and taken on board as deep unconscious beliefs. And you look around at this home and feel a deep sadness and yet a deep love for all that it has provided you with. A sadness for what you are preparing to step out of, and a deep love for the safety and security that it has provided you over many lifetimes. And gather up those memories, those gifts that deem worthy, that you deem worthy of holding within your heart as an aspect of your continuing journey, as an aspect or contribution to your inner strength. But there is very little that you can take with you, so you need to be circumspect about the items that you choose to carry. They almost dissolve as you hold them up against your being, dissolve into your heart space, expanding your heart, strengthening the love for yourself, for your eternal soul. And when you are ready to begin releasing the constraint, the boundaries of this comfortable and yet constricting home, this comfort zone, look up above you and you notice that a hole has appeared in the roof. And above that hole is a most beautiful, clear, light violet light that begins to descend. And as it does, it touches first the slate tiles, whatever tiles are upon the roof of the building, beginning to dissolve them within this violet light, opening up the space to allow yet more light in. And the light descends, simply dissolving and transmuting all of the elements that were used to make up this home, this sanctuary, transmuting them with the ultimate love of the ether, infusing them. And the light descends further, dissolving the walls. Notice how vulnerable you feel within this space, and yet how easy your breathing becomes as it expands. And descending further, it begins to penetrate your body, rippling like lilac streamers throughout your being, as the walls and the furniture around you dissolve upon instant connection with this light. And even in your sorrow at the disappearance of this long-term sanctuary is a joy at the freedom that you are here to experience, to be and to live, for the opportunity to create anew, for the opportunity to build new structures. And the violet threads continue to cascade throughout your body, all the way down to the earth star below your feet, until that entire structure around you is dissolved right down to the foundations themselves. Feel the airiness, the lightness, the freedom, and the fear that goes along with this. Allow the fear to arise within you. For even as the fear arises and makes contact with those lilac streamers now flowing throughout your body, it is transmuted by the divine nature of your essence and of the love that pours in upon the violet light. And beginning at the earth star below your feet is that transformation light code, a whirl of spirals of deep violet and green and white light, beginning to spiral from the earth star up, through and around you in a clockwise direction, spinning out any remnants of that old structure and form. Spinning out through your diamond, enlivening and enlightening the facets of your diamond. Transmuting, transforming, and infusing with light, creating a new space within and through your being. Expanding your heart space even more. For in the expansion of heart space is an opportunity for the gift of expanded experiences of life. And running through the code are those lilac streams of light still pouring in from above. And you are held in the center of this clockwise spiraling activity with a new strength, a strength that is not defined by form and structure, but a strength that is defined by the essence of the energy that infuses every element and every cell of your body. It is the strength of surrender, the strength of divine love, compassion, knowingness, the strength of intuitive guidance, the strength of total trust, the strength of faith. And this is a light strength as opposed to a dense strength. And you find yourself outside now among the vistas that you were seeing from inside of your confined structure, mingling with the people and the beings that you were seeing outside of that structure. These beings may be long forgotten ancestors from the unconscious realms, or they may be multi-dimensional galactic aspects of yourself that have, up until this point, remained inaccessible or unseen or unknown. They may be future aspects of you, family members, higher guides and intelligences, all infused with the highest love and intention for the re-establishment of divine community upon our beautiful planet. And those lilac streamers still emanating out from the core of your being, reach out and touch some of these individuals, drawing them closer to you. Notice which ones are ready to step forward to become an aspect or in service to the new structures and the new forms to be created. And once attached, those aspects of self become fused with you. And as their energy is shared with you through those lilac streamers into your core, you are aware of an even more expansive impact on your energy. Your diamond is now huge, and you stand 10 feet tall and more within your diamond space. Be aware of the messages, the wisdom, the gifts, the insights that these new connections bring for you. And you turn around, and in front of you is a new building, an incredible mansion. Stories high, it is the place that you have perhaps always dreamed of. It may be a mansion, it may simply be an expanse of land, upon which to build a new community. This is your personal community with you all of the aspects of your grand multidimensional being. Whatever is appropriate and relevant for you, step into this space and explore what creative potential awaits, for this space is now for you to create whatever you wish upon and within it, along with the assistance and support of your companions. Spend a while in this new space exploring and experiencing your own internal magic as you create your new sanctuary. And the lilac streamers reaching out from the core of your being act as a bridge between the old form and the new creations, your internal bridge. For they seek to continue dissolving anything that requires release within you at the same time as that transformational magic is available to recreate using the elements in whichever way you desire. You are the magician of your life. And you stand within your diamond, within this new space. And you now begin to reach out through the diamond grids around the planet, calling forth those souls who will engage in sacred community with you in order to formally build and manifest through the elements the new communities upon the planet in whichever way they would become manifest. And each one that you touch has a network behind them of others that they touch. And those lilac streamers reach out from the core of your being through the grids, touching each one of those individuals until there is a network of lilac light, calling forth the pioneers, those who are ready, touching those who are not, with a hint of the possible, with the magic of the true purpose of awakening, with the compassion and healing for their trauma. For in the light of lilac is the transformation of grief and loss. And in that transformation is the potential for building the new. So through their grief they are drawn to the people and support systems that with love and compassion will support and facilitate the creation of the new. And this network extends way, way across the planet into communities where the grief and loss is currently being experienced in the physical form. And your message is, see what is possible to emerge from this. Surrender to the death of all that no longer serves. And understand that any loss of life in the physical realm is a soul eternal, maintained within the etheric realms beyond. Allow your love and your magic to touch them through this web. For you are the bridge. You are the bridge. And you may wish to almost see those lilac streamers acting as rope bridges to pull them out of their unconscious lack of awareness into a new light of understanding. And you see how important and vital your role is in facilitating and maintaining the momentum for the global awakening and the coming together of others. And in that awareness, connect in with all of the other diamond souls performing their duties and functions and soul purpose, evolving for the purpose of assisting humanity to evolve. And you extend and share your love and amplify that among and with each other. Giving gratitude and thanks. You stand at this moment holding the world in your hands as you connect with and transform through the grids. And in the understanding of the power of that transformation, let us now come together, joining hands in these enormous diamonds, and bring up the clockwise spirals. Again, reinstate the spirals of the transformation code. And as a group, we now transport ourselves into the center of Hurricane Irma. Be aware of the winds blowing around you, almost attempting to derail you as you maintain that clockwise spiral. And then that clockwise spiral encompasses the entire diamond group, forming one huge clockwise spiral, infusing the elements that are stirred and moving at vast speeds within Hurricane Irma. The water, the air, the potential for fire, the heavier elements of earth that have been seeded up into the clouds. Hold your space, for as a group united, we are stronger. And allow the transformation code and that clockwise spiral to infuse the storm. And the lilac streamers from each one of you that is pouring out infuses and runs and ripples through the build-up of cloud, forming breaks, gaps in the intensity or the momentum of that spiraling flow. And in the same way that the elements of your sanctuary dissolved upon contact with this lilac light, the clouds begin to break up and dissolve within the area of the streams of violet lilac light as you are held within this grand spiraling light code. Be aware of your strength, of your mastery and your power, and call in whatever additional support, help is needed with this grand attempt to weaken the effect of this storm. As you infuse the storm with your love, the message to Mother Nature is we can learn to restructure another way, a more peaceful way, and that we commit to doing our duty as part of that process. Feel the fierceness of the storm as you hold your space in love. And now, slowly, as that transformation light code embraces the entire spiral of the clouds, threaded through with the lilac threads, slowly steer the path of the hurricane back towards the ocean. Your strength is boundless. Your mastery of the elements is boundless and infinite. Be aware of the wind speed reducing, and leave that spiraling light code now in place. Allow your intention to continue the spiraling. You may wish to revisit this from time to time to ensure its continued momentum to counteract and counterbalance the spiral of the storm. As you bring your consciousness now slowly back to waking awareness, back to your sanctuary, your expansive sanctuary within which magic can take place. Freedom that you feel beyond the boundaries of your skin, the elevation of your unconscious, and the freedom from any fear that may have been arising. And you take a deep breath in, settling your awareness now into this expanded space, holding your diamond, being in the strength, in the safety, enfolded with an expanded love and peace. As you prepare to step out into the world as a leading, guiding bridge into a new paradigm that has not yet fully revealed itself. You step out with a knowingness within the depth of your being that this is truly your purpose and reason for being here as a soul upon the earth at this time. And you extend your gratitude to all of the other diamond souls as you now take a deep breath in and prepare to return to waking consciousness. When you're ready, deep breath in and breathe out, and welcome back. Are you guys back? How are you doing? Wow. And it was a bit of a longer process, but I was away with that one. All very quiet chat room. I think there's a lot of um, coming back into consciousness, expanded space, because that lightness was really something. Lots of vibration through my hands. No idea where I went. Hardly heard you speaking after the roof came off my house. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I love it, Elaine. Went all kinds of places. And oh, what's with Merlin? Last with Merlin. Whoa, fantastic. And that because that is the magic that you guys embody, and that was the essence. Did you experience the work with the storm at all? Any of you? I know I feel very expanded at the moment. I could feel myself growing in height. Be part of that, just breaking out of that space. For those of you that can't remember, it may be very interesting for you to redo the process and see if you connect with anything else. Very interesting. Wasn't aware of anything. Must have been deep. Yeah, it was deep. It was deep and very expansive. So it really went into that subterranean flow, if you like, that Carpaccio was talking about. I was aware, and I have to tell you guys very powerfully of um, the light code and the strength that was being held at the center of the storm. It was almost like that real light expansiveness, almost I can't quite say solidified. It's not the word, but it came together as a really incredible strength that was held at the center of that hurricane. So Hillary said, holding the calm was very powerful. Yeah, very thirsty. Yeah, I'm also thirsty. But I'm going to watch what happens with Hurricane Irma very closely. So we've got here. Oh, we got yes, the storm. Like Mickey Mouse with his buckets of water in Sorcerer's Apprentice. Before that, Alice in her small house and growing up out of it. Oh yes. Oh yeah, I didn't even make that analogy. I was just aware of this incredible expansion as part of that. And then that's probably, I think, when you guys, like you say, Rachel, the minute the roof came off, that things were expanded in incredible ways. So Bunny says, yes, went very deep, and at one point thought I was in my house actually picking up things, as I had a lot of time to look at that last night, thinking about leaving. Felt a lot of shifts and letting go, in and out, missed the end, look forward to hearing it again, feel the storm is shifting. Yeah, feel that too. I grew too big for the house, was standing up and out of the roof. Yes, that's that was the whole idea as well, was really the liberation from those constraints, the transmutation and transformation of all of the elements, the way that they had grown and built the original confines of the structure. The minute we transmute those and infuse them with that divine energy, it's like that entire structure just, I didn't want to blow it apart because that wasn't a very good analogy, but it literally just dissolved and we expanded. So beautiful. I would really, really love if you guys could actually tune in at a sort of regular intervals during the day and just connect in with the storm. At the end of it, this transformation light code was spiraling clockwise throughout the entire hurricane. Like really was taking a lot of effort to actually move it through and slow it down and sort of break it up. So that pockets were created within the storm which would actually slow it down and slow down the impact. So Rachel said it was funny, I couldn't visualize any possessions, could only see a photo of my children. Well, isn't that beautiful? That was the whole idea. Have a look at what it is that's really necessary, you know, and to really release so many of those attachments. So yeah, it would be very interesting. I'll get it out for you, seeing as it's still early morning here in Salt Lake City. I'll actually get it out for you shortly, the recording, so that you guys can do it again, and hope you get the opportunity to do the storm as well, and let's watch that with interest. Because that's really where that expansive magic, that expansive beingness and the strength of the diamond was serving in a very grand way today. So thank you, everybody. There we got Elaine. Couldn't focus on specific items in the house, just felt heaviness, then all disappeared and felt relief. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Well, how fantastic is that? That is just absolutely amazing. Relief. Yeah, I can actually feel, I must say, a bit of relief in the joints where I was actually feeling that intensity earlier. So big letting go. It's just a really beyond the skin, beautiful experience. Oh, just had an image of a cloud with a face blowing hard at the storm. Yeah, to blow it in another direction. Yeah. So there's two things. We want to weaken its effect. So it'd be very interesting to see if it gets reduced again to a category 4, if anything comes of it, and also if it veers somewhat in its course. So we hold that space, and Bunny and anybody else that's in Florida at the moment, stay safe. We will continue to do what we can and do our work in respect of um, supporting you and minimizing any trauma. I will keep thanking Irma for dissipating and sending love. Yes, thank you. And that's it. So part of what we are here for is to support people in awakening without the full extent of that trauma. And that was the message and the essence that whether those of you who were conscious at that stage, that was the message that I was focused on instilling or infusing into the storm itself. It's like we don't need this intensity. We can do it. We can be those bridges. We can support people and speed up the awakening. Oh, I've just got goosebumps on that one. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of it. I'm going to sign off now so that I can get the recordings out for you and for everybody that couldn't join us live, and sending lots and lots of love to you all for being here, and for again, just love you for being part of the processes, and have a wonderful day, night, evening further, and be safe and no fear, as they say. Be fearless. So I need to share with you, Old Bunny will be thinking of you. Yes. Blessings and love to you all. Thank you. Love you.